In this video, I'm making my first ever forged hammer with Corin. Corin told me to get rid of the burr and put a center punch mark in the middle of it so we can move on to the next steps of the hammer making.
Things are starting to get a bit noisy, but I got a little pro tip here for all the guys that are just starting out. When you've got steel, as you can see, all the steel down the bottom here, this is all tool steels and various different types of steel. What I do, I always get a set of number stamps and letter stamps, and I always stamp the end of the bar. So that's a bit of F7. So as we cut the steel off, I'll re-stamp them before I put them back down there, so I know what the steel is. When center punching a bar like this, you'll end up with multiple dots if you hit multiple times, because the center punch can pop out and move. Put the center punch in, we give it a whack, go back into the hole. All right, big whacks rather than multiple hits, because it does tend to bounce around. Some time ago, I was fortunate enough to do a course with Alex Steele in making hammers. Alex Steele, of course, learned off Brian Brazil, so what I'm going to show you now is my interpretation of what I learned and how I do it, not necessarily what they do. We're going to be punching the top of the bar here. If we just hold it in one spot and keep hitting, the punch will start to drift maybe to one side. What we're going to do is rotate it like this. And that way, if the punch is naturally going this way, when we turn it around, it's going the other way, so that we end up with as straight a hole as we possibly can. I'll be striking, you'll go onto the center punch mark. When you're comfortable, you'll say strike, I'll hit. You'll turn it around, you'll cool the punch off, get some water. Never forge barefoot. These are my forging slippers. They stop the scale burning the top of your feet, and they're nice and soft and warm on the inside.
Forging slippers. That's living life.
I got shoes on. It's a pleasant change. They're not thongs.
Ready?
Good.
Ready?
Good job. That's the eye of a hammer right there.
Beautiful. Look at that. Hammer. There's a hole. Hey.
Woo!
Nice.
I see you. What we normally do now is we're going to fuller a line in front of the eye on both sides. So when you come out, you're going to grip in the eye. See that?
Yeah.
You're going to slide forward until you're touching. Put this one directly over the top. I'm going to tap it. That's going to mark it. We're going to turn it over, make sure it's even. We're going to do the same thing. Bang.
We're getting ready to run one more normalization cycle in the kiln, and then we're gonna do something with maybe scale, and we're gonna heat treat it, or maybe then do scale, and maybe then grind it.
Let it cool down to black, and we're going to grind all the decarb off it, and we'll go through a heat treat cycle. Okay, we're going to put his hammer in there and heat treat it, but first of all, we don't want any decarb on it. We're just going to put some anti-scale on the ends. This is a secret recipe based on American coffee. What we do, we just get American coffee and we boil it down real thick. Actually, we don't. It's actually called anti-scale. You can get a photo off the site. The secret is you've got to stir it until it's totally stirred, and then when you think it's totally stirred, you've got to stir it some more. Right?
So it's not supposed to look like a cappuccino?
Yeah, no, just this is good. If it's got lumpy bits in it, it doesn't work. And all we're going to do is do a bit of these ones where we just do a bit of that, do a bit of that. I think in America you buy it from Brownells, but if you're in Australia you can buy it from Gamaco. Happy days. And we're just going to dry that off, alright? Oh. So the first time I used this was on a Dharma steel barrel knife blade. And I didn't stir it, and it all popped off and decarburized the Dharma steel. And the only good thing was it was Kevin Slattery's blade. Hi Kev, Kev's Forge, look him up, great guy. Anyway, I practiced with someone else's blade, so that's how you do it. And now we just wait for that to come back up to temperature. We'll let it soak for just a minute or two when it reaches temperature, and we're going to quench in water. If you don't quench this in water, it's not going to get hard, so you're going to have to. The outside's going to get much harder than the inside, and that's a good thing because the inside acts like a cushioning impact thing, and the outside is going to be hard. You're going to get a steam jacket on the steel, right, and you have to bust through that steam jacket hard. So get it into the water and give it the whole shaky, right? As hard as you can up and down until it stops sizzling.
Okay.
That's it. Get the steam jacket off. That's right. Shake it hard, shake it hard, shake it hard. Get that steam jacket right off it.
I thought there was going to be big plumes of steam on top. That's why I was wearing the gloves.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want steam all over my hands.
With about 120 grit belt, we're just going to give us a smooth surface there and smooth that off just a little bit so we can hardness test it. Now you'll notice that the anti-scale compound is mostly all blowing off in the quench. This is a test plate, right? So we're just going to give it a couple of cycles to get all the oil and grease and whatever else out of all the joints. So the needle will come around and give us a hardness. Now that test block that I put in there is 62 Rockwell, and that's just red Kyle, 61.7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which we're going to call close enough. By telling how far it went in, it'll tell us how hard it is. And there we go. So we hit 44, Kyle. 43.
That's good. That's right.
We're going to put it into the tempering oven, give it a 200 degrees Celsius temper, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. It's a low temper, and we'll leave it be. Alright? And we won't go any higher. Normally if that came out of the quench at 50, you'd go up a bit higher in temperature.
Yeah. You're ready to make a wedge for the hammer that we just got in the tempering oven. I'm going to forge this down to a tapered point and then flatten it out into a wedge.
Ah. Oh.
I am smearing beeswax all over a hot hammerhead.
polish it up. Go to 120 grit on all surfaces.
I'm fitting the handle for the hammerhead that's pretty much ready to go. I am cutting the groove for the wooden wedge to go in later with a Japanese pole saw.
Now, the way to do this, you don't want to grind your hammerhead. Right?
Yeah, that'd be a shame after all that we did to preserve it.
Exactly, right? So you want to avoid that. So what we're going to do is you're going to use the wheel. You'll notice if you grind in the center there with the wheel, you can't hit the hammerhead, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just going to work it to the edges.
Corin showed me how to make a hammer. This thing's awesome. It was so much work to make by hand though, but it was worth it because now I can make more hammers with this hammer. Or possibly set up tooling on the press and make some really cool hammers too. It looks so cool. It's definitely one of the coolest hammers I've got look-wise. It's gonna be tied as far as how much I use it compared to the little tiny one on my workbench. This one will probably get used about 50% of the time, and then that little tiny ball peen hammer the other 50.
If it does that, the hole won't be in the middle.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it on the ground while it's red hot, make everyone run around. Okay. And I may actually have to put shoes on if we play that way. Standard beeswax from a bee. Smells like honey.
Standard beeswax from a bee, huh?
Yeah, you extract it.
Are you sure it's not from a cow?
No, you extract it from bees. You get the bees, put them in a special extraction press. It's like pressing olive oil, only a bit more bee. Polish it up. And just checking it. Let's stretch that on the floor, mate. You broke my concrete, Kyle!
You dropped it.
I don't know. Take that.
Don't start them.
Don't start me.